Election peace pledge by registered political parties is expected to start later this morning in Johannesburg. Meanwhile, the IEC will embark in a process of verifying addresses for the registered voters in the Potchefstroom-based Tlokwe local municipality today. This northwest municipality has been the scene of political controversy since by-elections there in 2013. Independent candidates argued that without voters' addresses, it would be easy for parties to steal votes by transporting people to vote in districts they do not reside in. The Constitutional Court has since ruled that the IEC must verify addresses, but that the August 3rd local elections should go ahead.
Now, for more on the story, our reporter Griselda Lewis is in Sandton in Johannesburg, where different registered political parties are expected to sign the peace pledge. Griselda, very good morning to you and welcome. Can you tell us what time exactly is this process supposed to start this morning?
Well, we're expecting proceedings to get underway at about 11 o'clock this morning, Elvis. But of course, you'd know that the city of Johannesburg and the city of Tlokwe are among those hotly contested metros in the upcoming local government elections on the 3rd of August. And what we're expecting to take place here this morning is that 18 political parties of the 45 that are contesting in Gauteng will then sign this electoral code of conduct pledging that, the upcoming elections will be free and fair. And I think what's quite notable in the Gauteng province there, Elvis, is that we've seen an increase in the number of independent candidates. We know that there's about 75 of them that are contesting in the municipal polls on the 3rd of August, and also, about slightly over 1,000 of the council seats that are up for grabs in Gauteng. And, it shows, the extent of what's up for grabs here, because you've got about more than 10,000 people who are vying for just over those 1,000 council seats. So what we're really expecting the IEC to also touch on here this morning is its state of readiness. Of course, you will know that the campaigning process has not been smooth sailing in the Gauteng province. We saw just yesterday some of the EFF members come under attack in Tembisa, where they were trying to campaign in that area. Those are certainly questions that we want to ask the IEC about, whether there are some areas that have been considered as no-go areas for some political parties. We're also expecting them, to touch on the issues that we're seeing in Tlokwe as well, because certainly all of this relates to, while the IEC may not have jurisdiction to speak on that particular issue, certainly this is pre-election violence that we're seeing. Of course, those previous stories that you played regarding the situation in Tlokwe perhaps would see the IEC also, say something with regard to the situation there, and whether, campaigning in the run-up to that poll has been free and fair. Of course, I've already made indications to some incidents where we saw that some political parties were not allowed in certain areas, and even if they do go there, they do come under attack. So certainly we want to see, what a comment would get from the IEC pertaining to that. But yes, we're expecting those political parties to sign that pledge here this morning.
So why is this signing of the peace pledge so important for the IEC moving forward towards the local government elections?
It's quite significant, Elvis, in that obviously, these political parties that are vying, for all these spots in these different metros in the run-up to this election must pledge, to conduct their affairs, their campaigning between now and the 3rd of August in a free and fair manner. With regard to the conduct of them and political party members, in the run-up to these elections, speaking specifically of, what we've seen over the past a couple of weeks, with regard to some political parties claiming that it's quite difficult for them in some areas. We've seen clashes as well. You would recall, Elvis, in KwaZulu-Natal as well, there'd been clashes between the ANC and EFF as well over very similar issues where, one political party may otherwise feel that it is their terrain where they want to campaign and would perhaps not allow others to go into that area. So we've seen, while there may not be as many, we have seen some incidents that the IEC has described as intolerant, where some political parties, were not giving others a chance to go and campaign in certain areas. So this code of conduct that will be signed here today is where they pledge to ensure that the way in which they conduct their affairs, the way that they campaign between now and the 3rd of August will be free, will be fair, without any violence, without any intimidation of any other political party or their members. members who are campaigning in whichever area.
Have some of the political parties arrived as yet?
Well, very few of them at this stage, Elvis, but of course we're expecting many of them to trickle in here as well. We're also expecting the chair of the IEC as well, Glenn Mashinini, to also speak here this morning. So, it'll be very interesting to hear what he has to say about, some of these incidents that we've seen of that others would describe as intolerant towards some political parties, and of course the violence that we've seen in Tshwane.
Griselda, thank you so much for that update, and 11 o'clock it is. Well, that's the date that we have for the IEC and, of course, signing that pledge by the political parties. That was our reporter, Griselda Lewis, live from Sandton.